Hi there, I am Stacy Phillips, and I am so excited to kick off my podcast, Stacy Phillips and Friends. Each week, we will step into my wardrobe, literally one of my closets, where one of my nearest and dearest friends and confidants will fill this chair next to me as my co-host to chat a little bit about life and a lot about women empowering women. Together, we will have a gap session with just us gal pals, a deep dive for the dish, a convo among co-eds, and then our big feature presentation, the special guest interview, or what I call the SGI. So welcome to Stacy Phillips and Friends. Let's keep it real. We are here today with a longtime friend of mine, Aunt Sisteron. Our kids went to school together. We had mutual friends, and when our mutual friend said, you know Ann, don't you? No, well, you need to go into her shop, which I did, and now I have drawers full of her jewelry. I'm wearing this outfit today because my necklaces are from her, my earrings are from her. I thought it would be overdoing it if I put too much on because I'm not as tall as Anne, but I'm already coveting this necklace, which as soon as we finish shooting, I will be buying.
We all had to try it on.
I'm very honored to have you represent me so well.
Well, it's beauty. But we were talking.
And these earrings that you're wearing, they are part of my iconic Forever collection because I've scaled down a lot I had too many SKUs. All of a sudden I had 3,000 SKUs and it was just overwhelming and too much. And I've scaled it down completely to my favorite, most iconic pieces, and these are in my Forever collection.
Well, there's a story behind this before then you could take over. You were closing your shop. You're still online and you're now an influencer. And I bought a bunch of things, including these in turquoise.
Yes.
And I walked out into the parking lot and you were there and you were wearing these in the white ones.
Yes.
And I went back inside and bought the white ones. Which I tried and said, I don't need it, until I saw them on you.
You won't regret it. It's what I wear most of the time. Most of the time you'll find me in the white or the turquoise. And then sometimes these are so big that I decided to go with the Madison gold hoop.
Well, you don't want to be too matchy-matchy.
Yeah, but sometimes it's nice.
I agree with that.
Sometimes I love matchy-matchy and sometimes I hate it. It's really specific, but I think that these would actually, the blue would work well with this. I do think so.
I can't wait to buy it. So, what?
Well, I wanted to just know how you ended up here. How are we even talking about your jewels right now in this gorgeous closet with Manolo Blahniks and designer bags lining the walls?
Yes. So my story from beginning or from where are we starting?
Beginning.
Okay. So I was born in Paris to Danish parents. And then I was raised all over Europe as well as the US as a kid. And there's a cute story that my mom tells that I'll tell you in a little bit. Then when I was 15, so very multilingual, multicultural. My parents are multicultural, multilingual. My dad was the Danish ambassador to the US, to France, and the Court of St. James, which is the UK, Scotland. So I got to travel around a lot, and I got to go with my parents I've been to the White House, to the Oval Office with the president.
Which president? Good
question. First Bush,
okay,
who was actually a dear friend of my dad because he was the U.S. ambassador to China. Then he did a visit to Denmark where my dad was the head of the Danish Foreign Department. So when my dad became the Danish ambassador to the U.S., we were welcomed into the White House and got to meet him. I was at Buckingham Palace having tea with Diana and the Queen. I've had extraordinary life with my parents. But when I was 15 years old, I was discovered on the beach, so cliche, by a British fashion photographer to be a model. And I was even at 15, I'm proud of 15-year-old little me. I was very suspicious of this man on the beach with a camera. That just seemed a little creepy. Mm-hmm. So I said, no, I don't want to be photographed. I was with my girlfriend and she was like, well, I want to. So he took a lot of pictures of her. And then he turned to me he said, I have 2 pictures left. These are the days before digital. I have 2 pictures left. May I take them of you? And then I was like, well, sure. Because now I've just seen my girlfriend do it. So he took 2 pictures and then he said, I get your energy. You don't want to give me your number. You don't. So I'm going to submit these photos to Copenhagen Models, which was the biggest agency in Copenhagen at the time, and you can contact them and see what they want to do with this. I'm walking away. This is what we're doing. And I thought that was a very sweet way for him to approach me as a young 15-year-old. So Copenhagen Models reached out and I started modeling. And I wasn't allowed I wanted to leave school and model because I was making a lot of money and I thought that was a lot more fun than school. My parents weren't allowing it. So in my school vacations, I would go to Paris, Milan, and build my portfolio. And then when I finally finished high school, Copenhagen Models, they were with Ford models because this is before this is when the Iron Curtain was. There were no Eastern European models, so it was all Scandinavian. And Copenhagen Models was aligned with Eileen Ford. She came to Denmark to have dinner at my home to convince my parents to let me move in with her in her townhouse in New York. And they were like, no way. But she realized when she entered my home that this wasn't a slam dunk. That this
She had an uphill battle.
You had real parents.
Yeah.
yes, in a real home that most girls wouldn't want to leave. And then by the time I finished high school, Copenhagen Models had switched allegiance to Elite, Gianni Casablanca's Elite. So when I got a contract, I went to Paris and I got a contract to New York, and that's how I ended up in the States.
Okay, and the next step
Yes.
is?
The next step is I then had a great career with Elite. And this, unfortunately, is before the internet, before anything. So you had a great career in New York, wonderful, but you couldn't really take it elsewhere. My husband, I was already married. I married at 21. Met my husband when I was 17 in a nightclub in Paris.
Same husband now?
Same husband now.
Oh.
This is adorable.
Yes. And so I was already married and at 21. And when I was 23, he was offered an incredible job in LA for his career. He's 12 years older than me. So he was like, I want to do this. And I was like, I don't. I hate LA. I don't want to be there. I'm in New York. And what every model dreams of is a cosmetic campaign. That is what you dream of. That's what makes you. And I had just shot Maybelline worldwide. It was a worldwide campaign for Maybelline. It was on a billboard in New York. It was going to all over the world. And I had shot it maybe 6 months before we moved. And when we moved, I literally, my career ended overnight because now I'm sitting in LA. And back then, there was no real modeling in LA. I joined for half a minute an agency called, can't even remember what they're called, but I was there for half a second. They sent me offers to go and do boat shows in bikinis, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Price is Right. You
yeah,
could've done
yeah,
Price is Right.
no, thank you. So I sat and cried opening Vogue magazine, seeing the double page of myself in this campaign, and felt my life was over. What I've later learned is that when you see a roadblock, often it's actually
A door opening.
and the right decision for your life. And it was, because then I really didn't have an education because I just had done high school because of my modeling. But my mother-in-law was a journalist in France, and she had just interviewed a gemologist, which I didn't know existed. And she said, you know, the best school for gemology in the world is in LA called GIA. You should go look it up. So I went to visit. Back then they were in Santa Monica, which is great because today they're in Carlsbad. I wouldn't have gone there. And so I went to GIA and became a gemologist. And that led me to then starting my own business. Now, I was pregnant with my first son when I graduated. And I thought that I wanted to be a goldsmith. And I thought I could just have a baby and then 3 months later go become a goldsmith. But I didn't realize that life isn't like that. So I stayed home with him, and then 2 years later, his little brother came, and I was a housewife for quite a few years. Once they were in preschool, I decided to start making jewelry, but I was hand beading, and I would sit and bead at night when they were in bed, and then I'd wear the necklaces on the playground, and then one thing leads to the next, and it's LA, and a lot of wonderful opportunities, and next thing you know, I've started a fantastic jewelry brand that has brought me a lot of joy and opportunities and
And me a lot of joy.
and happiness and meeting incredible people. So that's the story.
Can I ask one question, rewinding? When you were in New York, did your parents ever come over? Did they stay in Europe?
This is the weirdest thing. This is really the oddest thing because I have nice parents, and I moved to New York in with my husband when I was 19, and they were in London. And I moved in with him in, I think, July. And I didn't see them until Christmas when I brought him with me to London for Christmas. And I've later thought, because I am a mother hen myself, I've thought, if I had a daughter who moved to New York, to Elite, and told me she was moving in with this French guy
I'd be
who
there
was 12 years older, I would be on a plane, immediately cancel everything, and be on the plane to see where's my daughter and who's this man she's living with.
Yeah.
But I think times were different. I
Yeah.
don't know.
They
So
trusted you.
yeah.
Okay. No.
And your instincts were right. You've been married
Right.
for forever.
Yes, forever.
And by the way, it's the third time today, I think, that a mother-in-law has come up
That is true.
in our conversation and the effect that in a positive way. It doesn't always happen. So
Yeah.
I like
This
that.
was my mother-in-law's room
Oh,
when she lived with us. I mean, it didn't have all the built-ins. It wasn't a closet. This was her room, and she was basically our wife.
I love that.
The first time I met Abby, when she was sitting in your seat, so to speak,
Virtually.
and virtually,
Yeah,
she was at her mother-in-law's house.
that's right. So we've talked about it today. Just interesting. We're lucky because not everybody gets to talk about their mother-in-law in a nice
That
way.
is so nice. Well, and it's funny because I have a few life goals that are very important to me. And one is to be the best mother-in-law I can be when the day comes that my sons, I don't have daughters, the day my sons take wives. One of them has a lovely, lovely girlfriend. They live together. They've been together for a long time. I certainly believe she's going to be my daughter-in-law. And for her and the other son's future wife, that's a goal. I just want to be a wonderful mother-in-law and be inclusive and kind.
And that's a very excellent goal. Also, she's going to get an excellent ring.
She's going to get an excellent
That,
ring.
You know,
and,
I mean, obviously not as important, but
and
kind
more
of.
than rings, she's going to get an incredible collection of handbags
Yes.
and all of that.
So now you've started your influencer career.
Well, I sort of call myself the accidental influencer because I didn't mean to be. And I had no idea what it entailed. It just sort of happened. It just happened organically. And I'm having a lot of fun with it.
You can tell.
I think it's
because I watch it.
It's fantastic. I don't want it to take over my life. I want it to be a fun part of my life. So I'm sort of keeping it. But so here's the power of Instagram is that I did my first Instagram live about a month ago, and all brought on by the tariffs because I manufacture in Asia. And I say that proudly because I actually think Asia has some of the best skilled artisans in the world. And now it's really hard getting jewelry in. I decided to scale back, slow down, close my store, even though my store is beautiful.
Stunning.
And it was just, all of a sudden, my jewelry business had grown so much. I mean, really knock on wood, where I had 20 plus full-time employees and a lot of people to oversee. And I was being more and more removed from my love of designing jewelry and interacting with my clients. I'm now running a rather big business. And when you have 20 employees and paying for healthcare and rent and everything that entails, you have to sell a lot. So now I'm selling for millions and millions and millions of dollars and building a brand. And it's amazing, but it was not really bringing me joy. So I had the very difficult decision over the holidays. My lease was up. And I decided, and I had to renew for 5 more years, and I decided, I think I'm going to stop and just be online. I did this. I sold out everything. I did a goodbye sale.
I bought a lot, including these earrings.
And
she's your proof.
they're
that you
the
did
best
sale.
bargain ever because they're now back at full price. But I didn't know sort of how to go. I now sold all the jewelry. I still had my store for a few more months, and I'm like, what am I going to do with an empty store? And with the tariffs hitting and getting very hard to get my jewelry in production as fast as I'm used to, I designed this whole line inspired by White Lotus that I could make locally in Los Angeles. It's beaded necklaces, Amazonite coral, turquoise, pearls, and I can make it locally with my stringers who I've worked with for more than 20 years. I did a live on Instagram. We sold so much. But when I say so much, I'm reaching Kuwait, I'm reaching Qatar, I'm reaching Europe, I'm reaching people with my big, when my company had a big staff and I was paying a lot of money for advertisement, which I don't do anymore because now it's just all natural advertisement through Instagram. I'm actually selling so much that, shocker of all shocker, I'm opening another store. Much smaller store because my store right now is huge. It's a palace and it could house all these employees upstairs and behind and everywhere. So I've taken a tiny little beautiful store 3 stores down from mine. I'm on the same block a few doors down, and I with my newfound success of these pieces that I'm producing locally, so I can actually produce constantly on time. I needed a place to ship out of. And I didn't want to move it to my home, and I didn't. So it's the same landlord. I went to the landlord. I said, "You're going to think I'm nuts," and I said, "But can I take that little store, and they said yes.
Well, you're selling pieces like this,
Yes,
which
pieces
we're,
like this.
I'm buying as soon as we finish this. Yes.
And I did these fabulous koi necklaces with these enamel big koi fish that I put on these long. We sold out during my first Instagram live. 20 minutes in, they were all sold out.
Do you enjoy doing it? Do you like?
Oh
do
my
you
God, this
enjoy
is
having the live sale piece of it? Because I feel like that puts your
fun.
adrenaline.
It's so fun. We're doing my next one in 2 days, and we're going to do them once a month. It's a great way to connect with the audience, but also really, I had no idea. Once you have a certain following, and it's been very new to me because in 3 months, I had 100,000 followers for 10 years. Hardly grew. Very, very unengaged audience. They were real. They were there. They were just there to look at what the latest collection was. But they didn't see me as a person. They saw the brand, so they didn't feel like engaging. I think a lot of brands are like that. And then when I started doing my reels and started showing me and what's close to my heart and what I believe in, all of a sudden in 3 months, I have grown from 100,000 followers to, last I looked at 300,000 followers.
No.
And they are all highly engaging, super fun. And I'm having a great time with it.
So this reminds me of the pearl necklaces I bought and the pearl bracelets I bought when I first met you.
Yes,
Coral.
I've gone back to my roots.
Yes.
Yes, but I'm still doing some fabulous diamond pieces. So what happened is when you grow really fast, what are we, 338? Yeah, 338,000. I grow every single day.
339.
And it's incredible. And it's come with a lot of attention and really positive things. And amazing people following me. Brené Brown. Can we
Wow.
have a moment when I saw Brené Brown following me? Dr. Mary Claire Haver of the menopause.
Can I tell you a
movement.
secret about her? She and I sold skincare together like 10 years ago before she was the guru that she is now.
And before
No
you were the guru
kidding.
that
And
you are now.
That's right. Although she was partially my foray into clean skincare, and which is how she also got, so because I work in the infertility space and it was connected. But we were in like an MLM together, and she was one of my team leaders, and I still talk to her about, can you believe that was us?
That's
Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
wild.
Yes.
That's
you have a love
wild.
of skincare, I think, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have a lot of skincare and cosmetics. And
You've been doing reels on that.
yes, I did.
And on cooking.
Oh, my cooking. More than 400,000 people have watched my cooking.
I
Now,
looked at you and, oh, Martha Stewart.
what is so funny is it's a crustless quiche. It's very basic. This is not rocket science. I am not a huge chef. I just like to cook clean food for my family. And it's really funny because they're very kind, my followers, but there came a whole war. Everyone was insisting it was a frittata. And like the frittata police came for me in the most polite way, but it's hysterical. So now I'm actually sending recipes on my comments, like just to show this is legit, this is real. And it's really funny. My older son came over for dinner last night, and he was like, "Mom, your crustless quiche, wow, people love it." And he's like, "But isn't it a frittata?" And I'm like, "Okay, I give up now. This is too much."
You
And
really?
what is the difference in your mind between a crustless quiche and a frittata? I know how I would answer it, but I'm curious.
Yes, I'll tell you. A frittata, you start on the stove and finish in the oven. A quiche is all
Oh, in
oven
the oven,
baked.
yep.
So that's
Does a frittata get a crust like a quiche does? Oh, but this was crustless.
it's crustless.
Got it.
Yes.
I get it now.
Yes. And then I also got a lot of comments because you cannot slide anything by an audience.
Yeah.
So at the end I say I like to serve my crustless quiche with a nice crusty baguette. And people are like, that doesn't make sense. Well, here's the thing. I'm mostly gluten-free myself, and my family is not. So if I do a crustless quiche, they really want some bread with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, you're going back to a store and back to your roots, but also what a new, exciting, inventive side of you that might not have ever come out had it not been for social media.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. But I'm a huge believer in manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what people consider good luck in my life, I've actually manifested. And so going back to, I told you the story with my mom, is when I was 10 years old, we just moved back to Denmark from Washington, D.C. And we lived in the center of Copenhagen. And we would walk by my favorite hotel. Back then it wasn't, I didn't know. But it's called Hotel d'Angleterre, and it's sort of like the Ritz in Paris. It's the Grande Dame of Copenhagen, beautiful hotel on the main square. And literally our apartment was 2 minutes away. So my mom and I would walk by all the time. And I said to my mom, and she reminded me of this because I don't remember what I said at 10. I said to my mom, Mommy, one day when I get married, I'm going to live in the United States and you're going to come visit me. But when I come visit you in Denmark, I'm going to stay at Angleterre and we're going to sit and eat lunch at the terrace. And we laugh about it every time. I'm staying at Angleterre, we eat lunch on the terrace.
Oh, love that.
And little 10-year-old me knew that was what was
Your future.
Yes. I just knew it. And I believed that I was worthy of it. I think that's the most important with manifestation. You have to feel worthy.
So my observation when I learned that you were closing your store, I read about it, I talked to you about it, I talked to our mutual friends about it, that it wasn't bringing you joy, and you wanted to scale back and sort of rediscover, you didn't say your roots, because we had a discussion about those pearl necklaces and bracelets,
Yes.
some that you made for me years after as a
Yes.
favor. And what you stumbled into or manifested or whatever you want to say has brought you joy.
Yes.
It's bigger,
Yes.
a different scale.
Yes.
And let's see like how that all develops, but it's very cool.
It's very
And I
exciting.
see you every day. I look at my Instagram before I go to sleep.
Oh, yes.
It's very fun to watch.
Thank you. It's joyful. And I think at this stage of life to feel really wake up happy, go to bed happy and feel joyful is tremendous.
Ah, that would be nice. Being a divorce lawyer is a little bit of a challenge because people are not happy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
My children wake me up all night long, so I have that's my crutch for
She
the
has
day.
twins.
I have twins,
Oh.
and they're 6. Like, let's get on with
How
this
fun
phase.
though. If
They're
I could
amazing.
just have my kids are 2 years apart. If I could just have one day back of them being 4 and 6.
Yeah,
I
know.
agree.
Oh, that
I
would
know.
be. I have a funny Stacy story.
Yeah.
So
Great.
when we met initially, you kindly surprised me by sending me your book.
I don't even remember this. Okay.
And my husband was going through the mail. I'm in the kitchen cooking dinner, and he's going through the mail, and he opens up this package, and out comes your divorce book. And in it, there's a note from you. It was lovely meeting you. And my husband nearly passed out.
That is so
He,
funny.
I saw him turn like white, and he's reading it. And I look at him and I start laughing, and then explain to him that
You've
we
never
had-
told me that, and he's never told me that.
That is very
and
funny.
I sat next to him outside
Yes.
for dinner at my house.
Yeah.
Isn't that hysterical?
And I was telling Stacy that she had sent me a beautiful gift earlier, a few months ago, around the time of my anniversary. And I got this box addressed to Abby Feeder at my home, and from Neiman Marcus. I'm like, did my husband like finally figure out to go to Neiman Marcus for our anniversary? And instead, it was a lovely gift from Stacy, which was also fine. But
And I said I could train him.
yes,
Yes. You should start a training school, a husbandry.
Well,
That's-
given what I do for a
Yeah.
living,
Yeah.
I do that with clients who have moved on to like girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever afterwards, if they bother to listen to me.
Mhm.
And my book is all about relationships. It's not really about divorce, but
Yeah.
it does scare people.
Yeah.
Well, for
No,
a divorce attorney, I've never seen somebody who loves seeing people together more, And she always says, is there anything we can do to make this not turn into a divorce? And I think that's a very kind way to look at it. So I don't think that's the approach most divorce lawyers take.
No, I
No.
don't think so either.
I've saved a few marriages by picking up the phone and calling opposing counsel and saying, can we make this work? We send them to counseling. What I do for a living is hard, which is why I am more of a connector. I mean, I don't know why I'm a divorce lawyer from a human standpoint, although I do take care of my clients and try to make them whole again and give them the support system they need if they are willing to listen to me. Because I actually do know what I'm talking about at this point after doing this for 40 years. And I do know what you mean by not finding joy. Almost 9 years ago, I was not finding joy in my law firm that I had had for 26 years with partners and associates. It was not a happy place. So I moved most of my firm to Blank Rome, which is a much better, happier place for me. If only my clients would like calm down.
Mhm.
The way the world is going now, it is a real challenge.
Yeah.
Really affecting people's psyche. And when they go through divorce, whoa. I thought COVID was bad. This is much worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're still married to the same wonderful man that you
I
met
am.
at 17.
Yep.
That's rare as
That is
well.
very rare.
It is. It's
Very rare.
Yeah, and I was not looking for a husband clearly,
Mhm.
and he was 29, and he was not looking for a wife either at all. But it was magical.
does he still work in the field that brought him to LA? Like, was that a worthwhile move for him? Because it seems like it was for you.
It was a very worthwhile move for him. But he's very smart, and he's always seen the bigger picture. And for him, going to LA was the right move. And he actually went on to, he came out to run a company. And while he was there, this is a long time ago, and he started the top venture capitalist fund in Los Angeles called Upfront. He's the founder. And he was offered, he put it together, and they would rather have seen him start in Silicon Valley, because back then there was no venture capital in LA at all. And he loves LA. So he was not going to go to Silicon Valley. He stayed in LA, he built it in LA. And today, LA is a hub of venture capital, really due to him starting it. So he's pretty iconic as a person.
Both of you.
Very inspirational. Yeah.
Power
Thank
couple.
you. Thank you. He's sweet, and he is an incredible father to our sons. I always say to my sons, you guys need to bow down to me for one reason and one reason only. I chose that man to become your father, and you have been blessed.
That's so nice.
That is really beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
And they feel that way.
I was going to ask you, I can't help it. This is my always question. What do you do to take care of yourself?
So the biggest thing I do to take care of myself is...
Watch one of her reels. She talks about that.
Okay, I will.
Is, I don't know if you're getting to the same, but that I'm sober.
No.
Okay. Being sober is definitely the best way I can take care of myself as a mother, as a wife, as a future grandmother. And I talk about it very openly. I did a reel about my sobriety because I never thought I'd become an alcoholic. I'm not, there are no alcoholics in my family. There is no abuse, addiction in my family of any kind. And I didn't drink in my 20s. I didn't drink in my 30s. And all of in my 40s, I started drinking, and I started drinking heavily. And it spiraled out of control to the point where I was drinking myself to death. And I was drinking wine that became vodka. It was never enough. But I had so many rules. No one knew. No one knew. I kept it. I was the best hidden alcoholic. I had observed people who drink. So in restaurants, I saw that the people who like to drink, their glass is always empty, completely empty. So I always left an inch of wine.
Oh, no, the true alcoholic, you just keep refilling when it's partly.
Yes,
full.
but if
You know, I was married to an
but
alcoholic.
if you look at a table, you can tell the drinkers' glasses are empty. The normal drinkers, they'll get up and there'll be half a glass left. A drinker will not walk away from half a glass. So what I started doing, I would drink before going out. And then when I'd be out, I'd drink 1.5 glasses of wine, never more. Go home and drink afterwards. And it's so
Your family didn't know?
They knew I drank a lot more than I should, but they didn't know that I was the level of it.
I mean, coming up with those rules, making yourself with the control issues about it.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the sign.
Yeah. And I was going to die from it.
Mm.
And I'm really glad that my husband doesn't drink, and he's not sober. He just doesn't like alcohol very much. And he didn't give me an ultimatum. I am so glad he didn't, because when I was deep in the claws of addiction, if he had, I would have walked. Because addiction, I was so addicted that I would rather see myself it would have been a relief if I could just sit home alone and drink. I mean, it's so scary that happens to you. So thank God he didn't. And I just one day decided to become sober because I realized I was going to lose everything. And I'm so lucky that I could become sober, and I'm 3.5 years in.
Incredible.
Wow.
You didn't have any outside help? You did it with your own will?
I did it with my own will. I didn't think I could. I really thought I had to go to rehab, but I decided to try, and it worked.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
That's a big deal since I experienced it with my former husband, now deceased. I know how hard that is.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been the biggest blessing. And it's also why I scrutinize my life more now, where I was looking at my big company and feeling lost. And now that I'm sober, I deserve more than that. I deserve to do what makes me happy. I've earned it, I feel.
And I assume the 3 most important men in your life are very proud of you.
They're very proud of me. They are very, very happy. And I actually asked my younger son, who was the most critical. My husband and my older son sort of were like, I was quite funny when I drank, nice to be around. I wasn't an angry drunk. But my younger son had issues with it. And it took me to be a year sober for me to say to him, we were having a conversation, and I said, thank you for being hard on me. I think if I had kept drinking the day you had children, you would never leave them in my care. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to stop, because I want to be a grandmother and take care of your children. And he says, yes, I would never have trusted you with my children. And I said, and now you would. And he goes 100%. And that right there was it.
Wow.
I love it. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. So much fun.
We're going to dig up your reels, obviously.
I am so excited to keep watching you bring joy to yourself and to others.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, my love of jewelry, my love of fashion, my love of women, supporting women, empowering women.
Absolutely.
That's what this is all about, which is why you're sitting here.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's such an honor, and I look forward to it. It's really, really fun and a wonderful platform to be invited on. So thank you.
So do you want to share with our listeners and viewers your handle?
Where can we find you?
Yes, it is. It's my name. It's not the easiest name in the world. It's Anne Sisteron, and Sisteron is Sisteron, and it's a little town in France. So it's really Sisteron, but then it gets really hard. So Anne Sisteron.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, and I'm Abby Feeder at Abby Feeder on Instagram. My podcast is Women's Wellness with Abby Feeder.
Terrific. Amazing.
Thank you.